doesn't help in that particular rating. But nice little setup over towards ramp. Cat's actually found the kill on refresh, trying to lurk outside, but Victoria plowing through to ramp and getting the double entry. Rotates are here for Team Loba, but they actually can't stop them. Can't whittle down the numbers before they drop down B.
Impressive Glock work there as well, just removing 2 heads and opening up a path. It was slow to start off with, an explosive one it needed to be. And now Legia may find himself a stray CT up on the A site, but Loba is anticipating the flank, but the wrong side, and he's been bypassed. Now making moves downstairs. And in this 3-on-4, this is looking so difficult for Loba to try and keep a handover, especially as he's lost another player. But A-Core pivots around with that USP, puts an end to Dosia, has a couple more speculative shots, but nothing's really sticking the landing. Loba, in the meanwhile, goes in for a frag, and suddenly everything is coming apart at the seams. It's a 1-on-1, but the time is so very low, and A-Core doesn't have this. No kit, even though he lands a nice headshot onto Kassad. It's a parting gift, and Dosia will still claim the first round of Nuke.
Really nice strat there. A great way for Team Dosia to start, and maybe they're going to target this ramp area a few times over. And now in the force, against the force buy, they go completely unchecked and unmarked, but there are heavy rotates coming down, and there's a lot of damage, courtesy Legia. But this buy has netted very little. Only one that actually bought into it properly was Loba. The rest of the team have saved their money for future rounds.
I do love that aggression as well from Team Dosia, deciding to just push down ramp. It saw success in the first round. They're going to rinse and repeat it, and they don't lose a single player in the process. Yes, Leggy is low, as is Dosia, but A-Core's not able to capitalize, and he's going to go and save that Kevlar and keep his unbeaten streak alive in terms of deaths. However, Dosia will be off to a 2-0, and that's what I like to see. I was a bit concerned that maybe this was going to be very slow, and I'm very happy to see that they're not too bothered about getting aggressive, getting in the face of Loba and making them uncomfortable. Exactly what I was expecting to see from Loba. As I said, the man is fearless. He will push, he will hold W, but it's worked against him this time. Refresh, he'd read the script, he was waiting.
Yeah, reading it like a book. The over-rotates and pushing for information has been something that Loba have done consistently, and Kassad's found the kill on Henry as well, just clipping around the edge of the wall. And now a 5-on-3 that Letny will have to stand tall on. Molotov does significant damage, but Victoria labored spray, and no, not going to find it. A-Course as well, struck with the AWP, so diving down the vent towards B is the bomb on Refresh, or on Doja's back. Refresh just trying to keep them busy a little while longer over at A.
Has been stalled, but the bomb plant still comes into effect. Cat and A-Core both healthy, both moving together down the ramp side. Orf and M4 in tow. Meanwhile, Refresh, right idea, just slightly off on the timing, and the weakened Letny's able to escape. Dosia's given his position away now, and the swarm of CT should be finding their way towards his position, not before he sprays down onto Cat. Had no idea, tries to pivot into A-Core, gets found, and Refresh playing around the door. The time is so low once again. It looks like this could be yet another round for Dosia, and Refresh has forced him off the site and somehow survives as well. With the Glock, goes in for the peak, wants to take down the CTs with him.
Dosia and Refresh were up to in the post plant was perfect, and that round all kicked off because of the fact they were able to punish and bring it into this 5-on-3. You see how well Letny does on this bomb site and gets away with kills that almost certainly shouldn't have done. But if they didn't have that early man advantage to start this round off, well.
They decided to get aggressive again. I love watching this from Team Dosia. Now, Victoria may have gone the way of extinction, but the rest of her team is still alive and kicking. It will be another post plant. This has been very successful for Dosia so far, but there's now 5 players against them, all with weapons. Refresh doesn't quite connect the dots onto Henry G, and Legia puts him down to 2. Finished off by the molly and the flames. There's no reprieve for Henry. Loba around the corner though, makes short work of Dosia before Letny finishes off the round. And finally, Team Loba have a successful retake and a defuse.
A change of pace attempted here by Team Dosia, just going fast and diving down that vent, but they lost numbers before they actually succeeded in dropping down to B. Kassad's lurk found nothing, and I mean a 3-on-5 retake is, I mean a post plant rather, is rather hard to do. Been very, very solid from Team Dosia so far, and it's usually because a player has gone unchecked or unmarked. Well, I was saying the wall of smokes outside was flawless earlier, but this time there's a big old gap.
again, due to that mistake, it means that Dosia had to throw a third smoke outside. So now they only have one remaining. It has afforded them the passage of Dosia to make a move into secret. But this is where Team Loba have to be careful, because we know that they like to brute force their way in and try and dictate the pace of the rounds on the CT side. We saw this time after time on Cobblestone, but Dosia being more methodical, slowing it down, waiting for the CTs to push into them, has worked out. But Loba now doubles up with Cat. Victoria deals the fatal damage onto Cat, but not before a 2-for-1 trade goes in favor of Loba.
Matter's only going to get worse. Refresh finds his kill, and Legia is lurking out onto the A bomb site. They're double pincering into A, and Acor none the wiser. Refresh fast shot on the jump up, and Legia as well heard Letney drop out of heaven, so Loba's last man standing 1-on-3 drops the bomb as well, and the Molotov will force him back. Using the door as a distraction, Legia thought he tried to vacate, so down to a 1-on-1, and Refresh is already low. Loba could certainly win this as the captain of the squad, leading from in front, and
Loba's probably screaming. I can imagine he's super hype over that play, as he should be. Here are the first two, and then he comes full circle, and man, did their team need that, because otherwise they were looking at being reset economically. They're still going to be in rough shape in that regard. One on Loba's capable of fragging. I mean, Kat's been really good for Team Loba throughout this this tournament, and yet she's 1-5 right now. Maybe not as comfortable on Nuke. That's another part of the puzzle that may come into place. The key has been found and dealt with swiftly. And it may not get too much better for Dosia after this. Molotov down. There is a player stuck behind the main area, just under silo. I believe that's Victoria. She has the scalp, but Refresh puts that AK to use. Victoria has now been splattered by Acor, who goes in again against his former teammate. And just like that, Loba looking good to take a 4-3 lead. Kassad and Dosia remain. A nice dink onto Cat, but it's not going to be good enough to yield the kill.
Point to the table, and that's NUKE is typically the permaban for Enigma Galaxy, which Kat does hail from her team, so that would explain to a certain degree as well. The first one on usual outside crosses, but if he can re-navigate over towards the other side of the red box, that would be ideal. Letney's not looking for it, and Refresh is, so a one and done, but a trade that will not happen. Acor's AWP is hoping that Refresh overswings. 5-on-4 advantage for Team Dosia.
Well placed flash. Meanwhile, hits 3 players on the team. That was over on ramp, which is Henry G's doing. And now with the M4, he'll get carved through by Victoria's AWP. Puts more pressure on Cat on 7 HP. She played very well on Cobblestone, which obviously isn't one of the active duty maps. So definitely a versatile player. But that is a bit of a concern, perhaps. That being said, though, it is a best of 3, so things could get better. Loba caught in the reload animation, and Dosia will oblige by pushing him down. Acor's not been checked, though. Could deny the bomb plant. There's one. There's a second as well with a no-scope, but Acor can now turn this around because they have to come into his domain, his layer. With the bomb being spilled down, Acor will have a chance to get more carnage here. And Victoria, oh, she's playing with fire. Yet to get burned, though. And Refresh
on 5, actually. I think it ended up being because he was completely isolated on that bomb site. But good patience displayed by the remaining players here of Team Dosia, just waiting for Refresh to flank in from heaven and not overswing. All in all, and money is certainly tight here on the Loba side. So this buy will be the last one they have in the tank before we see them on an eco.
Charge down into the secret side is Refresh this time. Will be greeted by Acor if he is to come around this corner. You assume he's going to go for some kind of a wide swing rather than a shoulder peek, but he has been punished. Big pick, big scalp to take. And Team Dosia now trying to regather their thoughts as they go into lobby, leaving Dosia on the flank, the lurk. Cat in ramp by herself, playing the off angle here. And she will be potentially tested by 4 players. This is not really an angle where you can get multi-kills from. And one well-placed flash could be the complete difference maker on the approach right now. She doesn't even muster up the 1 frag, so Dosia just runs and guns. But now it's into Letney's arms. He's spoilt for choice and sprays down the middle, getting no kills, but a bit of damage done. Loba on the off angle is called upon once again, but the timing on that flash could not have been sweeter. Now it's Acor's turn, up on main. fairly easy area to deal with, but no one's watching the vents. Henry, meanwhile, though, misses his chances. He had an opportunity to kill 2 players, and although all 3 are low, it doesn't matter because Dosia's
that entry immediately, but because they're so close to this potential to elbow and potentially flanking towards hell, you can see Lenny gets caught in transition, and they just make this snap decision to converge on this A bomb site. Certainly a chance for Henry to have thinned the herd before this bomb got planted, but that was the clutch man for Team Dosia, clearly.
Oh, the problem is, though, if you do economic damage in a pissed round, you've got to make sure that you convert the next round. You've got to punish them for that lower economy. Just getting picked instantly on the site won't be good enough, but they have at least dealt the fatal blow to Legia, who's watching the back of lobby. And now 2 players getting aggressive. They can try and systematically crunch back on and constrict the site, but they're losing more bodies. The herd being thinned out to just 3. Loba, Letney, and Cat have got to try and clutch a 3-on-4. And with refresh behind vents and a crossfire being established on site and Victoria, this is going to be very difficult to pull off. They're hemorrhaging even more bodies. And Letney on 37 can do little while he's stuck behind the Molotov on Squeaky. The time is too low. Maybe some exit frags, but only the one will be coming his way.
Red container, we've seen Loba try and go for fast flanks. We've seen Letney play up close. This time they tried to go for a double ramp push, and this was the call from Team Dosia to just run through this A bomb site and run through the door smoke. I mean, out and hoping to capitalize on mistakes, and they've thrown a couple rounds like that out there. But they have actually gone with a rather fast pace in a number of these rounds, and it's certainly been catching Team Loba out.
Oh, absolutely. I think mixing up the pace has been so important because it makes them respect every round. They can't get too aggressive. They can't take their eye off the prize because it may be a rush round. And in this one, Dosia may have been found, but Loba's also gone down. One of the heavy hitters on the side of the CTs. Trades back and forth as Henry's woes continue. He's having a struggle right now on the A site. Feels like he's being shot from all angles. Acor, though, puts it down to Legia. Has so much time allocated with a Molotov on the heaven. He'll feel he does have the opportunity to go in for this plant. And now in a post plant with the AK and a smoke and flash, maybe he can pull this one out of the embers. It's a labored spray though, and Cat will punish him.
Yeah, doubling up was a good decision there from Team Loba. You can see Cat trying to take space while Acor held with the AWP to make sure Cat didn't play ring around the rosy there with Legia. But a nice attempt, so having one more teammate would have certainly paid its dividends, but Team Loba did a great job thinning those numbers before the eventual move into the site. You do remember as well, once upon a time, you know, and he is sharp in small bouts, I would like to think. Now the fast play, Dosia just overwhelming Cat in at ramp, had a number of players right behind him, so trades were available, but they are flurrying over towards the lower side, but Refresh already dropped down vent, so rotates are not so easy. They have to come by the secret stairs, and Acor, sharp shot for sure, but the Molotov will keep them back.
Yeah, well-placed Molotov does buy them up a little bit of time. And in doing so, yeah, they have to save it. They're going to be tapping out of this round. So that means Dosia is going to be off to a 9-5 lead come the second half. They're going to have a solid lead regardless. Whether they can hit double digits or not is an entirely different ball game altogether. And just to expand on the Legia point there, yeah, he was at NV for a while, was kind of a stand-in for a few months. Obviously, before that, he played for Big. He played for NRG as well. So the guy has a legit ex-professional background on him, and obviously he's been coaching for quite some time as well, involved in the big clan for quite a while. So it's good to see him cracking some skulls.
Yeah, I think we were really down on this team going into that final day of group stage play, but they have come here to play, and they may just have stolen away a crazy half here against Team Loba, but this round won't start the way they want it to. Already down a man, and Kassad will get spammed through the smoke. Henry had one death similar to that earlier in this half, so a little bit of reciprocity. Cat getting overwhelmed by Victoria, and there will be a trade back by Victoria in at ramp, but now a 1-on-3 presented to her. Another ace will have to maybe grace our screens if we're hoping that Victoria wins this.
Does have the bomb at least, and full helping of utility, but just 2 HP to play with, so it's unlikely. Stray bullet pretty much going to seal the deal for this round. But let's see if she can try and at least make this one a close one. Going up into the heavens. Dropping down. and has been spotted, but Loba unable to connect the kill. Fake comes out. They nearly lined up
That gap nice and quick.
Pistol so very important here. Kassad a bit of an off angle, but does give a couple of headshots across. Letney down to 21 HP. Meanwhile, Kassad drops to 44. They are watching though on the vents, and that's from the T's perspective. Letney's already forced his way down here. And now on the ramp side, Dosia comes back around the corner, taking down one. Victoria's there alongside him. An exquisite turn of events will force away the T's onto the A site, which they have by and large got for themselves because the CTs have vacated the premises, but the bomb still needs to be planted here, and Letney comes back onto the site, so they're going to make a real go for this in a 3-on-5 post plant.
Nowhere is safe. That's the problem. You want to try and escape into hut or at least into lobby, but you can see this quick flank. Dosia, Legia able to find a couple kills a pop, and Loba has control of this A bomb site, has to clutch again, and he may just do so. Has to ace for Team Loba if he wants to take this pistol round away, but they're sticking to defuse. They're trying to keep him at bay and keep him at distance, but he runs down Legia, and Victoria has to come off of it, but Victoria lands the shot. This time the ace will be denied, and Team Dosia take the pistol.
It's a hell of a shot as well from Victoria. Calm under heavy pressure and duress. Comes out, takes quiet here.
Might have just let out the saddest bro you might have heard from Loba at this tournament. Presences for Team Loba. The critical thing is that they're missing out on utility, which this is why you often don't see teams go for second round force buys. If they can brute force, if they can pry bar in, that would be great, and Loba will act as that tool to break into the A bomb site. Cat as well, the kill outside. A 3-on-5, Legia is going to get wrapped from multiple different angles, and Cat makes sure he doesn't even really have a straight on clean duel. Dosia scrambles into the site, but finds zilch. Refresh does actually find a lineup on the farmers, and finds a third kill as well. A ridiculous sequence of events here for Refresh, but it will be...
Feel like a team that when they have that confidence, they have the momentum, they're unstoppable. They are the juggernaut of this tournament. Acor would have heard Kassad jump across there, did flick in to have a quick look, hold the phone. Kassad's got the knife out. It would need to be Loba that comes down here. Instead, it's Acor, and Acor stomps on his head. He did get knifed, but survives to tell the tale. Meanwhile, the Refresh and Dosia make short work with their pistols, and this round is starting to get a little bit scary. However, calmness will prevail, as suddenly it's down to Refresh, but it is Refresh with an AK and 100 hit points, albeit without Kevlar.
It was Kassad's play that really enabled Refresh to get this kill, I'll have you know. So if he somehow ends up turning this round on its head, we're going to be singing credit to Kassad.
All things lead back to Kassad on this team, it would appear. As Refresh now making moves in, could get sideswiped, and he will. Cat has woken up as well, starting to get a lot more.
Yeah, and it feels like one of the big differences will be whether or not they can facilitate an AWP on the CT side, because you know Acor is going to have that in his hands. And when an AWP is unchallenged at this burst, they might even get more aggressive to kind of compensate and make sure they don't take as many of those long-range fights.
Molly just singeing the toes of a couple players. I think Refresh took a couple ticks of that down to 79, but Legia through the smoke will capitalize, capitulate Loba, who wanted to get aggressive once again. Quite split up are the T's for the time being. Players on silo, systematic control being established over the lobby, but losing the first player is going to make a huge difference, especially when it's one of those huge leaning towers, pillars of hope, and a second of which has been put down. That's 44 kills worth of fragging power. That has gone the way of the Dodo, and now it's up to the rest of the team to pull their weight in this round.
Big part of the plan was getting Loba down towards the lower site, but now and after they counteract this, great kill from Letney, flash from Cat to facilitate, and Legia actually goes down as well. Thought for sure he had the edge on that duel, but Cat that much sharper. And now Kassad and Victoria will have to hold their positions via mount. Oh, wow. Victoria actually just diving up the vent as soon as Kassad falls on the bomb site. Now distract. Dosia has free kills on this site, and now it's just pushing and pulling the attention of Letney back and forth between heaven and vent, but bomb's not even with him. It's outside, backside of lobby, and he doesn't really have the time to be shifting around. 20 seconds to make his way back into this site if he wants a chance.
Bomb has been picked up, but in the meanwhile, they've closed the gap, they've closed the noose, and Victoria will send him. They did manage to make it a really scrappy round, and so the economy of the CT is not quite building up just yet. Team Dosia is still going to be struggling a little bit. And I think Loba's going to be sensing that blood in the water and maybe try and strike again.
Also a little unfortunate for Loba that he died in the way he did, because Legia wasn't. That was his first burst, I believe. Oh god. Spamming through smokes is awfully deadly, but they do find a kill via Letny. It's a kill outside. I think the smokes had bloomed and they tried to challenge the other side of the red container. Letny was holding for it. This man advantage could certainly prove fruitful. 4 players now grouping up in at ramp. And Dosia does take a more passive approach. Challenging late will be dangerous, and trying to make not too much sound as soon as he got flashed off that angle. If he did, they would certainly run him down, and Letny will actually pull a nade, and that's a free kill that Dosia will anticipate. Dosia, in fact, finishing off business onto Loba, who'd been spammed earlier on, but now Cat will capitalize on the same punishment that Dosia dealt himself. Refresh rotating in and trying to help, but Kassad has to take some control of this B bomb site, and Legia will split and try and meet up with him, but they actually divert. They go towards heaven, and Legia is sharp with it.
Oh, there's a knife in there, I think, from a teammate, and the HE on top of it. That's a horrible turn of events, especially as Legia's now removed the head of Cat. This is self-inflicted potential losses coming in from Loba, and how tilting must that be for Henry, down to 20 HP. He has to back away, does have the bomb, can fall back onto the B site, has enough time, but there's already players that are moving down on the vents. So even if he successfully plants, and that's a big if, with Kassad very close, he probably won't live to tell the tale. Kassad goes for a peek, he heard the door open, Henry's come off the bomb. This is valuable time, 7 seconds left, Henry has to go for it, and now Kassad can just run straight onto the site. Even if Henry gets the plant down, he is going to be found and fragged straight afterwards. And you can see the assist from Kat as she came up and shanked Henry for good measure. 12-9 lead now for Dosia.
Jump's also waiting for Legia to pick up whatever he's hunting for, but this is a round that started off well here for Team Loba. Man advantage. Dosia was the pivotal piece that kept this in contention. But, I mean, to see these mistakes come out, especially with that first headshot by Legia.
Just any of those kinds of things, he's just going to be full chill this entire tournament.
Yeah, the mentality of a pro player from the content creator role. Great pick for Victoria. Mixing things up here, our Team Dosia getting aggressive into towards ramp. And now with that man advantage, this will constrict what Team Loba's options are. They'll have to continue to keep somebody over towards lobby just to make sure that they don't over push, just like Dosia's even attempting now. But in the meanwhile, Letny's lost his life to Legia, coach v coach, and I guess a big win out.
Oh, once again, it falls upon the very capable shoulders of Loba and Acor. They have to share the burden together, and they'll do just that in tandem, in tag team. They take 2 heads, clean off. And now Refresh showing up on the main side, not there in time to deny the bomb plant. It's also planted for the Heaven side of the site. So this will put more pressure on the Heaven player. Meanwhile, Loba goes in, sprays in, he's fully flashed, but Acor helps him out. This is exquisite teamwork from Team Loba. A 3v5.
From the back of the bomb site, but had Acor and Henry alongside him to try and alleviate that pressure if it was ever received. So great job. VP, they won't have these distance fights, but this time Team Loba don't have one themselves. Addressing one of the extremities will be one of the keys, I think, for Team Dosia on the defensive, because you could see on Dosia's attacking side, they were doing the smoke wall consistently. They were trying to implement these lurks, and they were very quick about how they implemented rotations. But if you lack that information about how many numbers are crossing, if you don't have that outside presence, it can be very difficult to make the right read and have your resources in the right site.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And I think we've seen Loba try and deal with that as much as possible, going from the lurk, the information gatherer, to the raw entry fragger, and it's not worked out at all. They ran into a barrage of bullets. And Team Dosia looking good to put the final nail in the coffin of this round. Acor, though, is going to keep the dream alive on 61 HP. And he does have the bomb as well, so this should be a post-plant on the B side. He's Molotov'd off vents. He knows that he's got time to go in for this plant, but what he may not realize is there's already a player up on ramp. Now he has spotted the pixel. Acor is more than capable of clutching this. Already on 31 frags, 1 kill in this round, and maybe about to pull off a 4K. playing with his food a little bit. They're going in for the defuse, and Acor comes out second best as Kassad was already peering straight onto double doors. Team Dosia going to take it a 14-11 lead.
An extreme in from vent, so felt like he had to push forward, and as soon as that smoke went on the bomb, feels like the round is done. Has too many angles to clear. Reinvestment here from Team Loba, and it's a hefty one at that. A lot of utility to work around, but they've been rather quick about how they deploy it and how much pressure they want to apply in the early stages of this round, or in the rounds prior, sorry. This round will be slightly different. Setting up for outside smokes, but Loba getting caught above the smokes in a door. Kassad had the perfect gap to see it.
He's trying to play the interference. While they got down secret, he could kind of lurk around the squeaky door, see if he can find a couple of frags on the retreat, the rotation. And as you highlighted, Kassad was privy to that information. Victoria's just waiting. Gonna throw that smoke down the second she spots any players. They're gonna try and push through on her. And she backs away. Gets the second chance, does a lot of damage, but also takes just as much. And Cat goes in for two. Molly down onto the vents as well. Dosia's watching the cross. But Acor removes the threat of Kassad. This round has suddenly just gone completely out of control in favor of Loba, but there's that man again, Dosia with a double kill. It may not be good enough as he's going to fall down to the hands of Letny, and Lagia in no position to deal with this. A 1-on-2 though, and with Letny down on 17 HP, and Henry alongside him, it's going to be difficult, but not impossible for Lagia. Molotov down at the left side. He'll be afforded the passage of getting through onto the ramp already, and this other angle is going to catch Letny off guard. It's down to Henry now. What's working in his favor is the bomb is planted at the back of the silo, so he can just watch this from the decon area. He also has a HE and a flashbang.
No kit either.
Full HP. There is no kit, but it's down just behind the vents. But that's not going to favor Lagia at all, who gets caught with a flash out.
The opponent off guard, and maybe you overswing, but Henry played it to perfection, just played it nice and slow throughout. And as soon as he anticipated Lagia to jump on that bomb, went in for a divisive move, but great hold as well from... See if Refresh can stand his ground outside. Flashes are good enough to partial blind, but can't finish off either of his meals. 14 and 7 HP on Cat and Acor respectively, and that has left them weak in the knees, that's for sure. But Lagia takes his place and doesn't spot or do any additional damage, so rotates towards the lower side have already occurred via Kassad, who only has a USP. They have guns on everybody, and the two guns, or the guns that they did have, has already been dispatched of. No one's anywhere close to it anymore.
Yeah, the problem is that Refresh was the only player with Kevlar, so as soon as he went down, Lagia picks up the M4, but he's just gonna get aim punched all over the place, as we saw in first hand, and there's no CTs close enough to retrieve that M4 that's now passed through two sets of hands. Bomb dropped out in the smoke, but they're gonna be able to pick that one back up again. Cat on 2 HP now. And I think we can put an end to this narrative additionally that Acor is a one-trick pony with the AWP. He's on 34 kills, and I want to say at least 30 of them have been AK or M4 frags. He has been lights out with these rifles. Victoria, in the meanwhile, though, coming around the side, may very well get the drop on Letny, who's already low. And that can be traded up now for an AK, and they can save 2 rifles if they want to.
I think the scary part for this round was that so many players were low. Loba will at least hold this main rotate, and while Dosia does get spotted, also doesn't want to overswing over FaZe. Kassad's trying his best to close the gap, and Acor just looks at him dumbfounded. What did you think you were up to? He had a Zeus. He was trying to leap at them and try and close the gap, but won't happen in this round. And Dosia will move to save. So this will be a tying moment here for Team Loba, who coming into this second half were trailing and have been trailing for most of this, most of how this T side is operated, but now Team Dosia will begin to sweat. I mean, you think about how well the kills are distributed on this CT side. It has been great to see how much they've seemed to have worked together to build all of these rounds. But what they missed out on in the first half, and Cat and Henry have certainly been activated. So now Team Loba are working on firing on all cylinders. Pretty
big determining factor as well. Consistently throughout the team, they've been more dynamic in terms of all 5 players, but individually we haven't seen one player like really step up. And maybe this is that moment. Maybe Refresh is going to get a second wind in the last couple of rounds and take us into OT as he plucks out the first frag onto Cat.
Maybe he was only playing at 35% of his energy. 100% soon to come.
Oh, the gap in the smoke from Refresh. That's so dirty. And Letney had no idea. Get shut down for free. A horrendous start on the side of Loba, losing 2 casualties with no real health cost in return. Only 7 for Refresh in the process.
Yeah, navigating this one will be extremely difficult. Acor will try his best to probe with that AWP. We even saw from Letney's perspective when that smoke was down. I didn't think there was a gap. Neither did Letney. Loba was very conscious of gaps around the main smoke this time over. But Acor's been left to his own devices. If he can hunt down a frag, this round could certainly open up. Only one player actually situated on the A site, but Refresh holding in a door, siphons off that bomb. So now it comes down to Henry about whether he can get that bomb back on his shoulders or not. In fact, dealing with Refresh may just do one better. Dosia takes his place instantly, but Henry's surrounded. There are players all over the shop, and Acor's so split from the bomb. A 1-on-3 with this AWP, and so far, no time as well. So 10 seconds, and he'll let that tick on by. Team Dosia will strike 15.
And take about Refresh. That was all his doing. You can see kicked off the round onto Cap. There's the gap in the smoke we were talking about before, and a lightning fast headshot onto Loba. An important kill at that. And although Henry valiantly attempted it, just 2 little...
Arsenal, you'd anticipate they actually want to close that gap as best they can. It's been in the sort of later 30 seconds from spawn that Team Loba have had more success bursting into the A-bomb site, but look at the aggression here from the CTs. Victoria's AWP will strike first, and that's the AWP on Acor drop to Loba, trying to make up for lost territory, lost resources, but will lose his life as well. So now a 5-on-3 again in favor of Team Dosia.
Refresh with the off angle as well. We haven't seen him play this particular one. This may catch Letney off guard. The shadow betrays him around the corner, and Refresh will not miss that opportunity. 2 players left, make it 1. Cat in a 1 versus 5, and